Well, one time I was listening to the radio in 1966, and I was stoned on LSD, and it was some kind of Motown song, and after it was over, the guy said, "And that was Mr. Natural." So I was drawing in my sketchbook, and I just drew this little character called Mr. Natural with a long beard, and it was real unconscious. I kind of liked the character, so I drew a lot of strips about him over the years. Well, there was Fritz the cat, who was the first real character that I had that kind of evolved from this cat that we had when I was a kid, that I drew comics about to entertain my little brother and sister, and then he got more and more, complex character, and then finally he became like this sort of a snotty college student, and then finally after that he was kind of a burned out hippie, and then after that the last thing was he was a burned out media star, and that was after the Fritz the Cat movie came out, and I had to have him killed off. So I had this female ostrich girlfriend that he had rejected, stabbed him in the head with an ice pick. In the 60s, the straight media was so atrophied and locked into a certain way of doing things that you were pretty much locked out if you had any idea about how doing things your own way or some other way than the way they traditionally were doing things, I wasn't going to go to New York and try and worm my way into the professional mainstream comics. There was nothing happening there. For years, I'd already just ignored that totally, and I was just trying to be a commercial artist and working for this greeting card company in Cleveland. I did hundreds of greeting cards. I got so sick of doing cards. Finally, I could not do another card, and by the time I quit, I was taking LSD and, starting to get, out there. I thought, what am I going to spend my life doing these fucking cards, And then one day in a bar, I met some guys who said they were going to San Francisco, and I just went with them.
Trucking, got my chips cashed in, keep trucking, like the Doodah Man, together, more or less in line, just keep trucking,
A zoo. It was a zoo. These guys said, yeah, there's this place called Haight-Ashbury that's supposed to be something going on there. I don't know. So that's where we ended up with all the other, lost souls from all over America. Ended up on Haight Street, standing there, looking around. I remember sitting in this place called the Psychedelic Shop, just sitting on the floor in there for days when I first got to San Francisco, trying to figure out what to do and what was going on.
It happens at the Avalon Ballroom on Sutter near Van Ness in San Francisco. Next week, the Avalon, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 3 nights only. Pink Floyd holding local rounders.
The posters were like the way the Kingston Trio was to Bob Dylan, the posters was to the comics. How's that, huh?
Wait a minute.
In other words, they paved the ground, so to speak, and set like with one of the things that happened with the posters, you got a system of distribution going. All right, the head shops. That's where the comics were first sold through. So the posters set up the system of distribution that the comics were going to be sold out of. Rick Griffin in particular and myself also to some degree were using comic book images in the posters themselves. The posters kind of first exposed comics again in a different, quote, psychedelic consciousness.
Well, it was the psychedelic posters that kind of motivated me to come to San Francisco in the first place. Some guy brought a bunch of those back to Cleveland and showed them to me, and I immediately could tell that there was a bunch of artists who were on that wavelength, obviously involved with psychedelic drugs, and I could see in those posters that something was boiling out here, I started doing Zap comics and sold them on Haight Street. And then other guys saw it and wanted to do comics also. So the whole underground comic scene picked up from there. People say, what are underground comics? And I guess the best way you could define it is just the absolute freedom that's involved. And I think that's real important. I mean, a lot of people forget that, you know, that's what it was all about. That's why we did it, is because we didn't have anybody standing over saying, no, you can't draw this, you can't show this, you can't make fun of Catholics, you know, you can't make fun of this or that. We just drew whatever we wanted in the process. Of course, they had to break every taboo first and get that over with, you know, drawing racist images, any sexual perversion that came to your mind, making fun of authority figures, all that. We had to get that past all that and really get down to business. Became habitual. I don't know what I could do or what else I would do with my life if I didn't draw comics. It just seems like I somehow got put on this path real early in life, and I can't stop now.